The Power of Emotional Intelligence. Introduction. Imagine this. You walk into a room full of people. Before anyone even says a word, you feel something. Your brain is already working fast, picking up on little details. Maybe it notices the way someone is standing, a quick smile, or even the energy in the air. Right away, your emotions respond, and your brain tells you how to act. Without realizing it, you are already using something very powerful: emotional intelligence. This is not just a fancy term. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the secret tool behind how we handle people, problems, and even our own feelings. Some people think success comes from having a high IQ or being super talented. But what if I told you the real key to success is your ability to understand emotions, both your own and other people's? In this audiobook, we will explore the hidden power of emotional intelligence. We will talk about how it affects your daily life, your work, your friendships, and even how you see yourself. Together, we will learn how mastering your emotions can help you connect better with people and take charge of your future. Now, let's begin with Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The Hidden Key to Success. What if I told you that success, love, and influence don't depend on how smart you are or how talented you might be? Many people believe that to be successful in life, you need a big brain and lots of skills. But the truth is, there is something even more important, and that's emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to notice, understand, and manage your own emotions. It also helps you read and understand the emotions of other people. Think about it like this. Emotions are always around us, even when no one is speaking. You can walk into a room and feel the mood right away. Maybe it feels tense, happy, or calm. That's emotional intelligence working behind the scenes. But emotional intelligence doesn't just help you sense the room. It helps you handle your feelings when you're talking to others. It decides if you leave a conversation feeling good and understood, or feeling upset and ignored. It shapes how confident and respected you feel after an important discussion. Here's the important part. It's not about your IQ or your talents. It's about how well you manage emotions in yourself and in others. Emotional intelligence is what helps you stay calm during a fight or helps you inspire and lead others. It is why some people seem to always handle problems smoothly, while others often feel stuck or frustrated. Every day, your EQ is either helping you succeed or holding you back, even when you don't notice it. Have you ever thought about how many times you missed a chance just because you didn't handle your emotions well? Or how often you've walked away from a talk thinking, "I wish I said that instead"? That's how powerful emotions are. They quietly shape your life. Chapter 2. Emotions control more than you think. Many people go through life reacting to situations without really stopping to think. They let emotions lead the way. They get angry and yell. They feel nervous and stay quiet when they want to speak up. They miss the small clues in someone's face or tone of voice and misunderstand what the other person really means. It's easy to believe that communication is just about the words we say, but that's not true. Most of the message is actually in the tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. Emotional intelligence helps you notice all of this. Without EQ, people often take things too personally. They might think someone is being mean when that's not the case. They react too quickly, letting negative feelings like anger or jealousy take control. And once emotions take over, it's hard to make smart choices. But mastering emotional intelligence changes everything. It teaches you how to handle your emotions instead of letting them handle you. It shows you how to read between the lines when others speak, how to catch the emotions they aren't saying out loud. You learn when to speak, how to speak, and when to say nothing at all. Chapter 3. Why Emotional Intelligence Matters, Now More Than Ever. Some people think emotional intelligence is just a feel-good idea from self-help books or therapy sessions. But that's not true. Emotional intelligence is backed by science. Studies show that EQ has a direct link to success in your job, your relationships, and even your mental health. In fact, research says that emotional intelligence is a much better predictor of success than IQ. People with higher EQ tend to earn more money, have stronger relationships, make better choices, and bounce back faster from hard times. Why? Because emotions are behind almost everything we do. They affect how we make decisions, form habits, build relationships, and handle stress. Your brain's emotional center is connected to parts that help you solve problems, make plans, and remember things. So even if you see yourself as a logical thinker, emotions are still shaping your choices, whether you notice them or not. Let's look at some facts. People with higher EQ earn about $29,000 more per year than those with lower EQ. Why? Because they manage workplace challenges better. They know how to handle feedback calmly and lead with confidence. In relationships, couples with high emotional intelligence solve conflicts in a healthier way. They build deeper trust and feel more connected. Leaders with strong EQ inspire loyalty. They know how to motivate teams and understand people's deeper needs. In everyday life, high EQ helps you read the room. It helps you adjust your behavior to fit different situations. It gives you the social skills to make friends easily and work well with others. Chapter 4. The good news: EQ can be learned. Here's the best part. Unlike IQ, which stays mostly the same throughout your life, emotional intelligence can grow. You can build it like a muscle. No matter how old you are or how much you struggle with emotions today, you can improve your EQ starting right now. EQ. It doesn't matter if you feel nervous in social situations or if you often lose your temper. You can train yourself to get better at reading emotions and managing your reactions. You can learn to stay calm during stress, handle tough conversations, and connect with others on a deeper level. This audiobook will guide you through that journey. It will give you real tools, step-by-step exercises, and easy techniques to help you grow your emotional intelligence. The goal is not just to understand emotions, but to use them wisely, to improve your relationships, your work, and even how you talk to yourself. And this is only the beginning. Chapter 5. The 5 Pillars of Emotional Intelligence. Now that you know emotional intelligence can be learned and improved, the next step is to understand what it is really made of. Emotional intelligence is not just one big skill. It has different parts that work together. These parts are like the foundation of a strong house, and they help you become better at handling emotions and social situations. There are 5 main parts, or pillars, of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Each one is important, and when you put them all together, they help you become someone who can stay calm under pressure, connect deeply with others, and handle tough conversations without losing control. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the first and maybe the most important pillar. It means you understand what you are feeling and why you are feeling it. It also means you know how your feelings affect your actions. For example, imagine you are nervous about speaking in front of a group. If you have self-awareness, you notice the nervousness before it takes over. You might feel your heart beating fast or your palms getting sweaty. Instead of letting those feelings control you, you recognize them and prepare yourself. You can take deep breaths, remind yourself that you're prepared, and keep moving forward. Self-awareness helps you spot patterns too. Maybe you notice that you always get annoyed when someone interrupts you, or that you feel anxious before big tests. Once you see these patterns, you can start working on them. Self-regulation. The second pillar is self-regulation. Once you are aware of your emotions, the next step is learning how to control them. This does not mean pushing your feelings down or pretending they aren't there. It means knowing how to respond wisely instead of reacting quickly. Imagine someone says something rude to you. Without self-regulation, you might yell back or say something you regret. But with self-regulation, you pause, take a breath, and decide the best way to handle the situation. You might choose to calmly express how you feel, or maybe you walk away to cool off. Self-regulation is what helps you avoid emotional outbursts. It gives you the power to stay in control, even when emotions like anger or sadness show up. This skill is also important when making decisions. People with strong self-regulation don't make choices just because they're feeling emotional. They take a step back and think clearly first. Motivation. The third pillar is motivation. This is the drive inside you to keep going, even when things get hard. It's what pushes you to set goals and stick to them. People with strong motivation don't let fear or setbacks stop them. They stay focused and positive. even when they fail or face problems. Motivation and emotional intelligence also means having the right attitude. Instead of thinking, I'm terrible at this, so why try? You say, I can improve if I keep practicing. This positive way of thinking helps you bounce back faster when life gets tough. Motivated people are often full of energy and enthusiasm. They inspire others because they don't give up easily. Even when they feel frustrated or sad, they know how to use those emotions as fuel to keep moving forward. Empathy. The fourth pillar is empathy. Empathy means being able to understand how other people are feeling. It's like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their point of view. For example, if your friend is quiet and seems upset, empathy helps you notice something is wrong, even if they don't say it. You might realize they need someone to listen or just sit with them. Empathy helps you connect with people on a deeper level because you are tuned into their feelings. In conversations, empathy makes you a better listener. Instead of just thinking about what you'll say next, you focus on what the other person is really saying. You notice their tone of voice, their body language, and their emotions behind the words. Empathy is what builds trust. When people feel that you truly get them, they feel safe and respected. In friendships, relationships, or even at work, empathy is one of the strongest ways to build connection. Social skills. The fifth and final pillar is social skills. Social skills help you interact well with others. They allow you to start conversations, work through disagreements, and build strong relationships. People with great social skills know how to express themselves clearly and kindly. They also know how to listen and respond in ways that make others feel comfortable. Whether it's leading a team project, making new friends, or fixing a problem at work, social skills help you handle social situations smoothly. Social skills are also about being adaptable. Every situation is different. Sometimes you need to be serious, and other times you can be playful. People with high emotional intelligence can read the room and adjust their behavior based on what's happening. Social skills also include knowing how to persuade and influence people without being pushy or fake. Instead of forcing your ideas, you learn how to inspire and encourage others in a way that makes them want to listen to you. Chapter 6. Learning to control your emotions. Instead of letting them control you. One of the biggest challenges people face is controlling their emotions during stressful situations. Have you ever said something in anger and wished you could take it back? Or stayed quiet when you really wanted to speak up just because fear or nerves got in the way? Emotions can be like waves. Sometimes they're calm, but other times they feel like they're crashing over you. Emotional intelligence helps you ride those waves instead of getting knocked over by them. Let's say you're in a stressful situation. Maybe you're arguing with someone or feeling nervous before a big test. If you don't know how to manage your emotions, you might yell, shut down, or freeze up. But emotional intelligence teaches you to pause. Just take one deep breath. That simple action gives your brain a moment to switch from reacting emotionally to responding thoughtfully. You might decide to lower your voice, slow your words, or even take a break from the conversation. People who master this skill don't ignore their emotions. They recognize them and choose how to respond. For example, when you feel anger rising, instead of lashing out, you might say, I need a moment to cool down before we keep talking. Or if you feel nervous before speaking in class, you might use that energy to speak more clearly and with more focus. This is how people with high EQ stay in control, even when emotions are running high. They understand that emotions are there to help guide them, not control them. They know that reacting impulsively can damage relationships and make problems worse. So they choose to respond calmly and wisely instead. Chapter 7. Influence, charisma, and reading people. Another important part of emotional intelligence is learning how to influence others and handle social situations with ease. Influence is not about tricking or forcing people to do what you want. It's about understanding people and building trust. Think about someone you know who seems to be liked by everyone. Maybe they walk into a room and people pay attention. They make friends easily, and they always seem to say the right thing at the right time. That's charisma, and it comes from emotional intelligence. Charismatic people are good at reading others. They notice when someone is feeling left out or when someone is excited but nervous. They adjust how they speak and act based on what they notice. For example, they might give someone quiet the space to speak up, or they might use humor to ease tension in a serious moment. This skill is called social intelligence, the ability to read social cues like tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. When you understand these silent signals, you can adapt to different personalities and situations. For example, if you are trying to convince someone of an idea at work, emotional intelligence helps you sense if they are open to hearing more or feeling doubtful. If they seem unsure, you might slow down and ask questions to address their concerns. If they seem excited, you can build on that energy and make them even more interested. Emotional intelligence also teaches you to adjust your communication style. Some people need facts and logic, while others need emotional connection and stories. High EQ helps you figure out what works best for each person or group. Chapter 8. Mastering Difficult Conversations and Conflict Resolution. One of the most common places where emotional intelligence really shines is during tough conversations and conflicts. We've all been there. Maybe you've had an argument with a friend, faced a disagreement at work, or struggled to tell someone how you truly feel without things getting heated or awkward. When emotions run high, many people react quickly without thinking. They might raise their voices, say something they don't mean, or shut down completely. But people with strong emotional intelligence know how to stay calm and in control. They know how to work through problems without making them worse. Emotional intelligence helps you spot when a conversation is heading in the wrong direction. Maybe someone's tone is getting sharper, or you notice their body language looks defensive. Instead of jumping into the conflict or avoiding it altogether, you pause. You take a breath and choose your next move carefully. For example, in a disagreement, someone with high EQ will listen first. They won't interrupt or try to win the argument. They'll make sure the other person feels heard and respected. Then, when it's their turn to speak, they'll explain their thoughts clearly, without blaming or attacking. This is how emotional intelligence helps de-escalate situations. It stops small problems from turning into big fights. It also helps you solve issues faster and more peacefully. Think about this. Some people avoid tough talks because they're scared of how emotional things might get. But emotionally intelligent people know that tough conversations don't have to be scary. They can be handled calmly, kindly, and with a clear goal, finding a solution, not creating more tension. Whether you're talking with a boss, a friend, or a family member, emotional intelligence gives you the tools to navigate even the hardest discussions without losing your cool. Chapter 9. Building Deep and Genuine Connections. Now let's talk about something equally important. How emotional intelligence helps you create real, lasting connections with others. We all want to be liked, trusted, and respected. But how do you actually make that happen? And the answer is not about faking kindness or trying to impress people. Emotional intelligence teaches you how to form genuine bonds with others by being yourself, listening well, and showing empathy. When you meet someone new, emotional intelligence helps you notice how they feel and what they need. For example, you might sense that someone is shy and nervous, so you make them feel more comfortable by being warm and patient. Or maybe someone seems excited and full of energy, so you match their enthusiasm. High EQ helps you create a feeling of safety and trust. People can tell when you are really paying attention to them, not just nodding along, but actually listening and understanding their emotions. This makes people feel valued and respected. In personal relationships, emotional intelligence allows you to build friendships and partnerships that are stronger and deeper. You learn how to talk about feelings, solve problems calmly, and support each other during tough times. In professional settings, emotional intelligence helps you stand out. People will see you as a leader, someone they can trust and rely on. Whether it's working on a team project or leading a group, you'll know how to communicate well and make everyone feel included. The key is this: genuine connection comes from understanding emotions, both your own and others. It comes from being kind, clear, and respectful, not from trying to control people or fake your way through social situations. With emotional intelligence, people will naturally like and respect you because you help them feel seen and understood. Chapter 10. The tools to practice and strengthen your emotional intelligence. All of these skills sound powerful, right? The great news is that you don't have to guess how to develop them. This audiobook will give you practical exercises and simple tools you can use right away to start improving your emotional intelligence. For example, you'll learn how to increase your self-awareness by doing daily reflections. That might mean taking 5 minutes each night to think about what emotions you felt during the day and why. Over time, this helps you spot patterns in your feelings and reactions. You'll also practice emotional self-regulation techniques, such as breathing exercises or mental pauses you can use whenever you feel overwhelmed, angry, or anxious. These techniques will help you stay calm under pressure and choose better responses in tough situations. Another tool you will learn is how to boost empathy. You'll practice really listening to others, not just hearing their words, but noticing how they feel underneath. This will help you build trust and stronger connections with friends, coworkers, and family. You will also get step-by-step methods to sharpen your social skills. That means learning how to communicate clearly, read body language, and adjust how you speak based on different people and situations. Finally, you'll discover powerful ways to improve your motivation and emotional resilience. Life can be full of setbacks and challenges, but with emotional intelligence, you'll be able to bounce back faster, stay positive, and keep moving forward even when things feel hard. These tools aren't just theory. They're real strategies backed by science, and anyone can use them, no matter their age or experience. Every tip and technique in this audiobook is designed to help you grow and create real change in your life. By practicing these skills every day, you'll start to notice small improvements. Then, over time, these small steps will turn into big transformations in the way you handle emotions, build relationships, and navigate the world around you. Chapter 11. The Challenge. Are your emotions holding you back? Now that you know what emotional intelligence is and how it works, it's time for a serious question. Are your emotions helping you, or are they holding you back? Many people don't realize how often emotions shape their lives. Think about it. Have you ever stayed quiet in a conversation because you were too nervous to speak up? Or maybe you avoided talking to someone because you were afraid of how they might react. Have you ever been in an argument where you felt angry, and later you thought, I wish I didn't say that? These moments might seem small, but they add up. Every time you let fear, anger, or frustration take over, it shapes your choices and your future. Maybe you missed out on a new friendship, a job opportunity, or a chance to solve a problem calmly, just because emotions got in the way. The truth is, many people go through life feeling stuck. They replay conversations over and over in their minds, thinking about what they should have said. They hold back because they are afraid of rejection, embarrassment, or conflict. Some people feel like they don't have control over their emotions at all. Instead, their emotions control them. But here's something important. You are not stuck. Emotional intelligence is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned and improved. No matter where you are starting from, you can train yourself to be better with emotions. You don't have to stay in the same patterns that have been holding you back. It all starts with one choice. Will you keep reacting to emotions without thinking, or will you decide to take control? This is the challenge the audiobook gives you. You can stay where you are, letting emotions drive your actions and leaving you feeling frustrated. Or you can choose to grow, to strengthen your emotional intelligence, and to change the way you handle emotions in every part of your life. If you've ever watched someone who seems calm and confident in tough situations, someone who stays patient when others get angry, or someone who leads with kindness, but also strength, you're seeing emotional intelligence in action, and you can become that person too. It will take practice, and it won't happen overnight, but the rewards are huge. You will notice more confidence, better conversations, stronger relationships, and a clearer mind when making important decisions. The question is, are you ready to do the work? To really understand why emotional intelligence matters, let's go deeper into how emotions shape your day, from the time you wake up to when you go to bed. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and check your phone. There's a text or email that makes you feel frustrated or anxious. Right away, before your day has even started, your mood shifts. Maybe you start feeling stressed, annoyed, or worried. Then you head out the door and someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel a flash of anger. Even though it was a small moment, it stays with you. You replay it in your head, feeling upset for minutes or even hours afterward. Later, you get to work or school. During a conversation, someone seems like they aren't really listening to you. They don't respond the way you expected, and you start wondering, are they ignoring me? Are they upset with me? Self-doubt starts creeping in. Each of these moments is a perfect example of how emotional intelligence works behind the scenes. People with low EQ might let these emotions build up all day long. They let frustration control them. And by the end of the day, they feel exhausted, angry, or disconnected from others. The sad part is, they might not even realize that emotions are the cause. But emotionally intelligent people handle things differently. They notice how they feel and decide how to respond. When they read that frustrating text in the morning, they take a deep breath and say, okay, this annoyed me, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. When they get cut off in traffic, they might feel the anger rise but choose to let it go, knowing that holding on to it won't help. When someone seems distant in a conversation, emotionally intelligent people don't immediately assume the worst. Instead, they pause and think, maybe that person is distracted or stressed. It might not have anything to do with me. This is the hidden power of emotional intelligence. It lets you take control of your mood, your choices, and your relationships all day long. You stop reacting like a puppet to every emotion that pops up. Instead, you become the one in charge. The emotional patterns you don't see. Here's the thing. Most people don't even notice this pattern. They think their feelings just happen, like the weather. But in reality, most emotional reactions are habits. These habits come from how you were raised, past experiences, and even the culture around you. For example, if you grew up in a home where people shouted during arguments, you might have learned that anger means raising your voice. Or if you were told that showing sadness is weak, you might have learned to hide your feelings instead of expressing them. These hidden habits shape how you react today, often without you realizing it. If someone criticizes you, do you feel defensive right away? If you make a mistake, do you beat yourself up or stay calm and learn from it? Your emotional patterns may have been built a long time ago, but they can be changed. Emotional intelligence starts with becoming aware of these patterns. The more you notice them, the more power you have to choose a different way to respond. Imagine being able to stop in the middle of a stressful situation and calmly say to yourself, I know why I feel this way, but I'm going to handle it differently. That's what emotional intelligence gives you, the power to respond instead of react. Responding versus reacting. Let's break it down even more. When you react, you let emotions decide for you in the moment. If you're angry, you yell. If you're sad, you shut down. If you're embarrassed, you might avoid the situation. When you respond, you still feel those emotions, but you pause first. You check in with yourself and ask, what is the best way to handle this? Then you act in a way that helps you and the people around you. For example, imagine you're in a heated argument with someone you care about. If you react, you might say something hurtful just to win the fight. But if you respond with emotional intelligence, you might pause, notice your anger, and say, I don't want to fight with you. Let's take a break and talk when we're both calmer. Or imagine you're feeling nervous before a big presentation. Instead of letting fear make you freeze or avoid the task, you take a deep breath and remind yourself, I'm prepared, I can do this. You turn nervousness into focus. Chapter 13, Your Emotional Blueprint. Where do your patterns come from? By now, you know that emotions shape your thoughts, actions, and the way you connect with others. But have you ever stopped to wonder, why do you react the way you do? The truth is, the way you handle emotions today didn't happen by accident. You were trained by life, by the people around you, by past experiences, and even by your culture. This training created your emotional blueprint, which is like a map of how you feel, think, and act in emotional situations. For example, if you grew up in a family where people didn't talk about feelings, you may have learned to ignore or hide your emotions. You might feel uncomfortable talking about sadness, anger, or fear because you were taught those feelings weren't important or were seen as a weakness. On the other hand, if you grew up in a place where yelling was common during arguments, you may have learned that the only way to be heard is to raise your voice. You might not even realize it, but this pattern still influences how you argue or handle stress today. These emotional patterns are like old programs running in the background of your brain. They affect how you react to criticism, how you handle rejection, and how you solve conflicts. And most people don't even know these patterns exist. They just keep repeating them over and over. So here's a question for you. What patterns are guiding your emotions right now? Do you often feel defensive when someone disagrees with you? Do you shut down when you're overwhelmed? Do you avoid hard conversations because you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings? Or of getting hurt yourself? These patterns were formed long ago, but they don't have to control you forever. Emotional intelligence starts with shining a light on them. Once you see these patterns clearly, you can begin to make new choices. For example, if you realize you always get anxious when receiving feedback, emotional intelligence helps you pause and ask, am I reacting to this situation or to an old belief I've been carrying for years? The simple act of noticing these patterns gives you power. You start responding to life instead of reacting to it automatically. It's like breaking free from a cycle you didn't even know you were trapped in, the emotional triggers around you. There are also daily triggers that set off your emotions without you realizing it. A trigger is something that sparks a strong emotional response, like stress, anger, fear, or even excitement. Think about your daily routine. Maybe someone cutting you off in traffic makes you feel angry. Maybe a coworker ignoring your idea makes you feel unimportant. Or maybe being late for school or work makes you feel panicked. These small moments can control your mood for the entire day if you don't recognize them. Emotional intelligence teaches you to notice these triggers in real time. When you spot them early, you can choose how to handle them instead of letting them take over. For example, when you notice anger rising after someone is rude to you, instead of snapping back, you can pause and think, is reacting with anger going to help me or hurt me? This simple question can change how you handle the situation. The more you track your triggers, the more control you gain. Over time, you'll be able to say, I know this situation usually makes me upset, but today I'm going to handle it differently. An exercise to try. Here's a small exercise you can start using today. For the next few days, pay attention to moments when your emotions get strong. Write them down. What happened? What did you feel? How did you react? The goal isn't to judge yourself, it's to notice patterns. After a few days, look back at your notes. Do you see any common triggers or reactions? For example, you might notice that you often feel anxious before speaking in groups, or you tend to get annoyed when people don't reply to your messages quickly. These insights will help you take the next step in growing your emotional intelligence, learning to manage and reframe how you handle these emotional moments. Chapter 14. Managing Emotions the Smart Way. A lot of people think that managing emotions means ignoring them or bottling them up. But that's not true. Emotional intelligence teaches you that emotions are natural and they are supposed to be felt. The key is learning how to process emotions in a way that helps you, not hurts you. Let's say you feel frustrated after someone interrupts you in a meeting. A low EQ reaction might be snapping back at them or shutting down completely. But with high emotional intelligence, you notice the frustration, stay calm, and respond in a way that makes the conversation better, not worse. This is the difference between people who are ruled by emotions and people who use emotions as tools. When emotions rule you, it can feel like being on a roller coaster you can't control. One moment you're calm and the next you're yelling or panicking. But when you manage emotions well, you stay in the driver's seat. You might still feel frustration or sadness, but you decide how to respond. Healthy coping mechanisms. To manage emotions well, you need healthy coping mechanisms. These are tools and habits that help you stay calm and think clearly when emotions rise. Here are a few common techniques that emotionally intelligent people use. Deep breathing, slowing down your breathing, signals your brain to relax. This gives you a chance to stop reacting on impulse and start thinking clearly. Reframing the situation. Instead of thinking, that person is rude, you might reframe it and think, maybe they're stressed or distracted today. This helps reduce negative emotions. Taking a short break. Stepping away from a heated situation, even for a few minutes, can give you space to cool down and return with a clearer mind. Shifting focus. If you notice you're stuck on negative thoughts, you can shift your focus to something positive or neutral. like a hobby, a walk outside, or talking with a supportive friend. Rewiring your interpretations. Another skill emotionally intelligent people practice is rewiring how they interpret situations. For example, if someone gives you criticism, do you automatically think they don't like me? Or can you instead think they're giving me advice to help me improve? Your emotions often come from how you interpret situations, not just from what actually happens. The more you practice seeing situations from different angles, the more control you will have over your emotional reactions. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to respond in a way that makes your life better and helps you stay calm, focused, and respectful, both to yourself and to others. The magnetic power of high EQ. Have you ever met someone who seems to handle every situation smoothly? Maybe they stay calm when others get upset. Maybe they can walk into a room, read how people are feeling, and make everyone feel at ease. That's the magnetic power of someone with high emotional intelligence. These people don't let emotions control them. Instead, they control their emotions. And because of that, they can guide social situations with ease. They are the people others want to be around. They're trusted during conflicts, admired as leaders, and seen as strong and calm even under pressure. But remember, this isn't magic. It's a skill you can build with practice. Chapter 15, the 4 core components of emotional intelligence. Now that you know emotional intelligence is a trainable skill, it's time to go deeper. Emotional intelligence isn't just one single ability. It's made up of 4 key parts that all work together like pieces of a puzzle. These 4 components are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. When you practice and improve each one of these skills, you gain more control over your emotions and your relationships with others. In this chapter, we will start by focusing on the first 2 components, self-awareness and self-management. Self-awareness, the foundation of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is like holding up a mirror to your emotions. It's about noticing what you feel, when you feel it, and understanding why those feelings show up. Most people go through life without thinking much about why they react the way they do. They might just say, "That's just how I am," without realizing that emotions often follow patterns. When you are self-aware, you become a detective of your own emotions. You begin to spot things like triggers. What makes you angry, sad, excited, or nervous? Physical clues. Does your heart beat faster when you're anxious? Do you clench your fists when you're frustrated? Thought patterns. Do you tend to assume the worst when something goes wrong? Or do you stay hopeful and open-minded? Being self-aware also means recognizing how your emotions affect your behavior. For example, do you tend to speak harshly when you're stressed? Or maybe you withdraw and stop talking when you feel embarrassed. When you build self-awareness, you start to pause before reacting. You notice your emotions rising, and instead of letting them control you, you ask yourself questions like, why am I feeling this way? Is this emotion about the situation in front of me or about something deeper? What's the best way to respond here? The power of naming your emotions. There's a simple but powerful trick to increasing self-awareness. Name your emotions. Research shows that when you can put a label on your feelings, you're already beginning to take control of them. For example, instead of saying, "I feel bad," you might say, "I feel frustrated because I don't feel heard." Or instead of saying, "I'm mad," you could say, "I feel disrespected because I was interrupted." The more clearly you can name your emotions, the better you'll understand them, and the more power you'll have to manage them. Self-awareness in everyday life. Let's look at some everyday examples of self-awareness at work. Imagine you are in a meeting at work and someone criticizes your idea. If you aren't self-aware, you might instantly feel defensive and shut down. But if you are self-aware, you might recognize that feeling of defensiveness as soon as it starts. You can pause and ask yourself, am I reacting this way because of what they said or because I often take criticism personally? Or let's say you're having a conversation with a friend who looks distracted. Without self-awareness, you might jump to conclusions like, they're annoyed with me. But with self-awareness, you notice that your anxiety is rising and you remind yourself, maybe they're just having a bad day. By simply noticing your emotions and checking your thoughts, you can stop small problems from growing into big ones. Chapter 16, Self-Management, Taking Control of Your Emotional Responses. Now that you understand self-awareness, the next step is self-management. This means controlling your emotions so they don't control you. Self-management doesn't mean hiding your feelings or pretending you don't care. It means learning how to handle emotions in a healthy way. Think about self-management as what happens after you notice an emotion. Once you recognize that you're feeling angry, nervous, or overwhelmed, what do you do next? People with low emotional intelligence often react right away. They might yell when angry, freeze when scared, or quit when frustrated. But people who practice self-management do something different. They respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. Techniques for self-management. Let's talk about some simple techniques you can use to manage emotions better. The pause button. When you feel emotions rising, hit the pause button. Take a deep breath, count to 5, or even step away from the situation for a minute. Giving yourself this moment helps stop emotional outbursts. The inner coach. People with high emotional intelligence often coach themselves through difficult emotions. They might say things like, "Stay calm. You've handled worse than this before." Focus on the goal, not the frustration. These calming thoughts help lower stress and bring your brain back into a logical mode. Body language. Awareness, self-management, also means paying attention to your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw tight? Are you breathing fast? Relaxing your body is one of the fastest ways to help your mind calm down too. Reframe the situation. Self-management helps you see challenges from a fresh angle. For example, instead of thinking, "This person is being rude," you might think, "Maybe they're just stressed today." Reframing allows you to feel less upset and more in control. Self-management under pressure. Let's imagine a stressful situation. You're in a group project and someone disagrees with your idea. Without self-management, you might snap back, raise your voice, or shut down. But someone with self-management will notice their frustration, stay calm, and respond in a way that moves the group forward. They might say, "I see your point. Let's figure out a solution that works for everyone." Self-management allows you to be firm without being rude, calm without being passive. It gives you the power to stick to your values without being overwhelmed by emotions. The long-term benefits. People who practice self-management tend to feel less stressed, avoid unnecessary conflicts, make better decisions under pressure, build stronger trust with others. When people see that you stay calm and respectful, even in tough moments, they're more likely to trust and respect you. Self-management also makes you more resilient. When life throws unexpected problems your way, you don't fall apart. Instead, you keep going with confidence and patience. The link between self-awareness and self-management. Self-awareness and self-management work hand in hand. You can't manage emotions that you don't first recognize. By building your self-awareness, you set the stage to manage emotions in smart, thoughtful ways. For example, self-awareness helps you notice, "I'm feeling nervous before this presentation." Self-management helps you respond, "I'll take deep breaths, focus on my preparation, and remind myself that I can handle this." This combination helps you move through life feeling more in control and more prepared for anything that comes your way. A real-life example. Imagine two people are facing the same situation. Their boss gives them negative feedback at work. The first person, without self-awareness or self-management, gets defensive and shuts down. They stew over the feedback for days, feeling bitter and resentful. The second person, who practices emotional intelligence, notices their initial frustration and pauses. They take a deep breath, remind themselves not to take it personally, and focus on how to improve. They ask questions calmly, thank the boss,